Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I will be talking about the most important tips and most important changes for Ryze going into Season 12. I'll be talking about summoner spells, runes, how to lane early, itemization, and combos. The most important thing that happened to Ryze in preseason is that he lost a lot of his AP, and this is because of Seraph's change. Instead of Seraph's giving a boatload of AP, it now gives ability haste. So right now Ryze doesn't do nearly as much burst, so he's a lot more dependent on his cooldown reduction and his items. His items are extremely cheap right now, so you can get it to his power spikes relatively quickly compared to before, but the power spikes won't be nearly as strong, is the thing. For summoner spells, I would recommend Flash and Ghost. With these runes. I want you guys to combine these two runes and summoner spells, because after they nerf TP, this is the best setup you can go on Ryze, because Ghost is extremely OP on Ryze. You just run at people and you really get to utilize the full extent of your point and click kit. So, Phase Rush, Mana Flow Ban, Transcendence, Gathering Storm, Biscuit Delivery. This is extremely important, especially if you don't have TP. This is basically where your mana pool is. And then Cosmic Insight, and then Attack Speed, AP, and whichever resistance you need. Attack Speed is really good because it will help you in the 1v1 duels get more auto attacks off. It'll also allow you to hit towers quicker, so you can get more objectives that way. As for starting items, I would recommend Sapphire and Refillable. You really just want to maximize economy on Ryze because all his items are so cheap. This used to be 3k gold, this used to be 3.2k gold, now it's reduced by 400 each, meaning you have to spend 800 less gold on your items. So you really just want to get to your items ASAP. You can go either Sapphire Refillable, or you can start tier with health potions if you're versus a really free lane where you don't really need the econ. However, I would just recommend this because you'll get a lot of value from the refillable, and you can even resell it later. After that, for early laning, I do have a couple tips for Ryze. Mostly has to do with EQ. I want you guys to note how my EQ only does 95 damage when you have 1 point in each ability, but as soon as you hit level 4, you're going to do so much more damage with the Q, and this should help you get a reset off later on in the game. So basically, I want you guys to conserve your mana until you're at least level 4. You can play for mana flow and like chunk with your W and E. You can poke them down, but I would really not recommend using Q too much until you have 2 points in Q. Whenever you need a reset, all you have to do is EQ, basically twice, and then you can just get a reset off. Actually, maybe you EQ 3 times, because I am a bit ahead of the leveling curve right now. But basically, you just EQ and you reset, get your base off. And if you ever fuck up in lane, you have biscuits to give you some extra mana. And then early itemization, all you have to really worry about is getting these 3 items together. These 3 items are all you need for the early game. And then after that, I'm going to talk about transitioning your build into the mid game and the late game. So there are a few build variations, but generally you're only going to go one build, okay? And it all starts with these 3 items. Number 1 thing you're going to do for your build is always you're going to finish mythic, okay? Ignore Liandry's and all of these 5, ignore them. You're never going to go these, except maybe Riftmaker, but that's only if you're versus a full AD team and you would go Frozen Heart with it. But basically, just ignore all of these. You're going to go Everfrost or you're going to go Crown. You generally are going to default to Everfrost. The exception is if you're versus a lot of burst. Let's say they have Akali, or maybe you're playing top lane Ryze and you're versus Camille. Then you go Crown of the Shattered Queen. Let's say they have Zed, Kiana, Talon, etc. Let's say they have multiple assassin threats. Then you go Crown of the Shattered Queen. Otherwise, you're going to go Everfrost, because the root is extremely helpful. You get 3 seconds of root because you can EW and then you can Everfrost and guarantee that pretty easily. They're just stun locked in place forever. Okay, so yeah, first things first, you always finish your mythic. After that, you are going to get a stopwatch. every time, okay guys? Every fucking time you are going to buy the stopwatch after you finish your mythic. The only exception is, let's say you don't have enough gold and you can only afford one item, you can go Amp Tome, and then you can finish that into either Zhonya's or Void Staff later. But yeah, always get stopwatch, and then your next item choice depends on a couple things, the main factor being stopwatch. But you should always never finish tier never finish your Seraphs unless your tier is fully stacked. So I'm going to stack my tier really quickly. Okay, so let's say you come to this point in the game, you took a base, you have 2.5k gold, you can buy either Zhonya's or you can buy Archangels. So, what do? Well, if your stopwatch is unbroken like it is right now, you're just going to go ahead and finish Archangels, because Ryze cannot play League of Legends without having a stopwatch or a Zhonya's. So as long as you have not broken your stopwatch, you can do this, and you can maximize your damage and cooldown reduction. However, let's say you fucked up. Let's say you used your stopwatch, and you still have a fully stacked tier. What are you going to do now? You are going to finish the Zhonya's. You have to. If you don't have stopwatch or Zhonya's, you can't play League of Legends. So you're just going to finish this, and you only lose out on like 15 AP and 5% CDR. So yeah, and then after that you're going to go Archangels, or whichever one you didn't finish first. If you finish Zhonya's first, you're going Archangels. If you finish Archangels, you're going Zhonya's. That always stays the same. Okay, now there's two variations from this point onwards, okay? First, I'm going to show you guys the standard build path. You're basically always going to go this build, unless the reason for the variation happens, which I'll explain shortly. But ideally, you're going to go Void Staff into Death Cap, okay? And this is basically Ryze's maximum AP right now. You're never going to get much more than 600 AP as Ryze. That's just how it is these days. So yeah, this is about the max damage you can do. But let's say you run into the variation circumstances, which I will explain. Okay, so let's say they have so many threats. They have a lot of damage dealers. They have AP damage threat as well as AD damage. Then you're going to go into Banshees and then Void. Now this is what I like to call the survivability variation. This gives you a lot of resistances for both AP and AD. Gives you a spell shield. And you still do a fair amount of damage. You're only losing out on 200 AP. But you will need the Void Staff. So yeah, what you're going to do is Banshees into Void Blast. I would like to avoid this build if possible, but sometimes you're versus too many threats and you just have to do it. But yeah. So that is like basically the only variation. I would not ever recommend this because like Void Staff is just so much better. It gives you 45% magic penetration. But yeah, you always need Void Staff in your build somewhere, whether it's going to be your 5th item or your 6th item. So that's about it for the build path variations. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into combos. There's 4 main combos, 3 of the really basic ones, and then 1 advanced one. So this combo that I'm about to do, I recommend it in 90% of scenarios. If you're ever unsure what combo to use, just go for it. EWQ. This lets you lock targets in place, and then you can even follow up with Everfrost and get your EQ off afterwards. Your teammates will be able to follow up on your target because you stun them in place. So yeah, this is a combo I recommend at all times. If you ever EW someone, you should follow up with your Everfrost if you can. And then second combo is WEQ. So let's say they're like in a minion wave or they're really clumped, then you can go for this combo. But you only want to do it if you can guarantee that you're going to actually hit the bounce. If you don't hit the bounce, well then your EWQ would have done more damage. And now the next one I'm going to talk about is the most underrated combo. It's EEQ. This is probably the combo that set me apart as like being above other Ryzes. EEQ. So this combo gives you a lot of move speed. So 385 right now, EQ, and this lets you chase people down. Let's say they're here now, and then you can probably get another EWQ combo down. So I'm going to demonstrate what this would look like in a realistic scenario. You would probably start off with EWQ, and then you E, and then you E. Let's say they're probably around here right now. You can catch up to them, and then EWQ them again. And I would recommend this combo when you're dueling, when you're chasing, when you're team fighting, because it really lets you maneuver through the team fights so much quickly. And you can even combine it with Ghost too. You're going to have so much move speed. Yeah, so much move speed. But yeah, those are the 3 basic combos, and then the last one I'm going to show you is you're only going to use it in about like 5% of scenarios. It's pretty niche. Basically, they have to be face checking you, and the brush has to not be warded by them. So the combo is Q, E, Q, W, Q, E, Q. This does the maximum DPS. You can even start off with Everfrost to guarantee the damage. But basically, they have to be very close to you, and they have to be face checking you. But you're not going to use this combo too much. It's a very rare combo that you actually don't get off too often. But yeah, those are it for the combos. I hope the itemization made sense. I think you guys should really keep everything I talked about in this video in mind for climbing in Season 12. If there are any big changes to Ryze or his items, the contents and accuracy of the video may change. But for now, you guys should be good. Just make sure to check the date of the video. I'll even post an update if it ever does get outdated. But yeah, thank you guys all very much for watching. I hope you guys learned something, and good luck in Season 12, guys. Peace.